Welcome to Flip Your Lid with Kim Honeycutt. Kim is a psychotherapist and executive director of ICU Talks, a mental health speaking ministry. This is a podcast about how to flip your lid and learning how to reconnect to who you really are.
All right, Flip Your Lidders. This is a big podcast. I am really excited about this. I'm also very excited because sitting beside me is my wife, Larissa, or Larissa, as my mother calls her. Larissa Miller. And so very glad to be here. Larissa and I, part of our bond from the get-go was depth and appreciation for the Enneagram.
Mm-hmm.
And in the course of that, we found Michael Shahan.
Yeah, we did.
He was hanging out on Instagram. We were like,
Hello.
So we've called him into our life. So he's here with us today. So Michael, welcome back. This is you're a repeat offender.
I am.
Yeah.
Offender. I feel very important.
Yes, that's right. We're not here to be nice to people. Wait, that's me.
Don't speak for me.
That is such an Enneagram 8
Don't
thing,
speak for
right?
me. Mm-hmm.
Don't speak for me, she said, with her individualism. So
I'm a 4.
She's such a 4.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you just want to say hi to everybody real quick, then I will jump in.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Glad to be back. Love talking about the Enneagram. Love it. Makes a lot of sense. And it's just a huge passion of mine. So
yeah. You do so well with it. And you are an accomplished therapist. You're sitting with people individually and in groups and teaching therapists. And so just to tell y'all where this is coming from, Michael and I have already met. We've already been on the podcast. If you haven't heard it, please go back and listen to it. But Larissa and I are privileged to be a part of Suzanne Stabille's cohort Enneagram.
That's awesome.
It meets 4 times a year. Mm-hmm. We got accepted, Michael. We felt like we got accepted to Harvard.
We were jumping up and down.
Sure.
Yeah, we were like all over it. So we're sitting in Dallas, Texas, learning more about, where we go and our stress number, where we go, and it's our health number. And, just when you think you got the Enneagram, I feel really intelligent.
That's so true. Even the last few weeks for me, a lot of stuff has been flipped upside down. Yep.
Flip my lid. And at the same time, I get a thing on Instagram saying you're doing an Instagram live about where we go and stress number, where we go and security.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, all right, Lord, I hear it. I hear the calling. And so I reached out to you and your assistant. So yeah, that's where we are.
Yeah.
Yep. So our lids flip. So help us. I know we can't get to every number. I know that's impossible. We want to make sure at the end, when people have resources, they know about your classes that they can take online. We want to make sure of that. But help us on how do we sit with this? How do we use this? And you start wherever you want to start because you are the brilliant one in this.
So almost kind of just asking, in general, some thoughts about the lines and how to handle those and what they mean or something. Okay, sure. Mm-hmm. I found a lot that when I teach or hear about the Enneagram, most people believe this idea that, we have those numbers that we're connected to by the lines. This idea that I go to this number when I'm in stress and not looking good, and this number when I'm in growth, which is, I think, way too linear and prescriptive of a way of looking at it. I think that becomes very limiting because what it does with people, it turns into this for example, I hear 2s will say something like, oh, I was really mean to somebody the other day. And that means I was in my 8. So that was bad. That means it's unhealthy. No, that's not what that means. And so I'd love to even share a little bit about what makes the growth line a growth line and what makes the stress line a stress line, just how I see it, at least, and how I teach it and how I work with my clients. Okay. So the stress line, we can start with that. The stress line, I think the way I teach it is it's something that you are uniquely unequipped to deal with because of your own number. So because of your own number's defense mechanisms, you don't have any practice with your stress number because you sort of don't want to go that direction. So example of a 9, the 9, the stress number is a 6, right? Very anxious, worrying, in your head, spinning about things, not sure about anything. 6. A 9 is their defense mechanism. They're so good at it is what it is. It's one of the favorite. It is what it is. We don't need to worry about it. It'll be fine. Yeah. Things will be good, right? It'll work out, to a fault. Right. But they do that so much that they never really have to practice the 6 space, right? Because I'm always telling myself it'll be fine, and so I don't have any practice worrying about things or thinking how things can go wrong. And so when they do, I go straight to the lower side of 6, right? I do it poorly. It's I don't know how to swim in those waters because I've never practiced before, so I do it poorly. Does that make sense?
That's very well said.
Yeah, yeah. And then I also like looking at it as almost Riso and Hudson in their early book from the late 90s, The Wisdom of the Enneagram. They call it a psychological release valve. So it does something for you. It kind of releases a bit of like the stress that's built up for your own number. A great example of this is with a 3. So the 3 goes to 9. A 3 is going, achieving, but then they get so burnt out and work themselves so hard, they get shoved back to that 9 space of like to do nothing. But it's like their body needs to rest, their mind needs to rest, but they won't let themselves. So eventually their kind of personality takes over and shuts them down and kind of makes them rest. But when it's done in that stressful way, in an unaware way, it's harmful, right? I heard a lot of 3s in my office. Like, I think I'm depressed. I have no motivation anymore to do anything, which, I mean, maybe depression, but I think it's more of that. It's the psychological release valve of the 9. Your whole system, your body and everything knows that you can't keep going as a 3. So if you won't give it that rest it needs, it forces the issue with the 9. Does that make sense? I think that's kind of also a piece of the stress line. It sort of gives you something that you're missing to like a sense of relief, like this sort of releases some of the pressure of your own number. And you usually do it poorly because you're not good at it.
Would you say that overall, like whether we're going to stress or security, that the Enneagram is really about growth, or like there's always like a balance?
Yeah. Yes. It's not prescriptive in this way that when you're growing, you should look like this. And when you're stressed, you should look like this. That's very limiting. It's very, I mean, it depends on like your own cultural lens or gender, or like there's so much that goes into how we present. That's not just your quote health or stress. And so I think like I always advocate using in my course that I teach therapists, I talk about using the stress number, like this idea that we need something from our stress number to move to our growth number,
right?
Versus just white knuckling it. And there's back and forth. We can take the high or low side throughout the day. We see different parts of those numbers in us. They are sort of these, I almost like looking at these lines as the shadow parts of you, the parts of you that are kind of immature and like in the most sort of trapped, stuck place of your personality type. You don't want to be like your growth number, and you don't want to be like your stress number. A lot of times it's like, I don't want to go there like a 9. I don't want to be stressed like a 6, and I don't want to be in a spot like a 3. So these is kind of forgotten shadow parts of us that can cause problems if we're not intentional about accessing them, if that makes sense. Versus this prescriptive, here's how you should look. You want me to give you my little summary of the growth number 2, and then maybe we can get into more depth stuff with all of it. So the growth number, I don't know if you ever heard, Beatrice Chestnut calls it the child heart point, I think. And lately I've almost been kind of playing around the idea of calling it the point of belonging. So like when we really belong with ourselves and feel like we belong, we can sort of naturally take the characteristics of our growth number. And there's this idea of, have you heard the theory of the soul child before?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's this idea that you were born with way more capacity to act like your growth number, but you sort of lose that over time because whatever culture or system you're in sort of denies that or represses that. And so you learn, as social creatures, we learn to, okay, I need to repress that too, if that is being rejected. And so we kind of miss out. So what that means is growth isn't becoming something new. Growth is actually becoming who we always were, but we've lost access to, which I think is so cool. And I hear that sentiment from clients for years of like, I'm growing and I'm really different, and it feels different, but there's also something about it that feels really familiar. And I think that growth line is something that people like to use the growth line as this like standard of measure. Like, oh, I was like my growth number today and I made that happen, so I'm doing better. And people like shame themselves. It's almost like romanticized to move to your growth point. Here's how I should be acting. Versus I think when we are at our healthiest and most grounded, we naturally start pulling from that growth number versus needing to kind of white knuckle those behaviors. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah, I think that just comes in such alignment to, an understanding so much, like whether it's internal family systems and other things that come in, that so much of what we do is that we work on looking at our internal conflictual parts and all the contradictions, right? And so looking at the growth numbers and stress number in that sense, like it's an acknowledgement, it's a comprehensive view of the contradictions and the conflicts, and then that allows room for more true self. Right?
Yeah. Our essence.
Yeah, it's our essence. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, and the idea of people having to knuckle it, brown knuckle it, whatever it's going to be for whoever that applies to people, of not having to do it in a way of stress. Like, how do we find that balance, but having treating ourselves well wherever we are in it. Can we? It's the awareness piece you bring up. Can we recognize
Yes.
and even know where we are?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest parts of it, recognizing
Yeah.
what's going on and when where
Yeah.
you're going and these parts of you that are getting triggered or activated
Mm.
versus trying to stop them forever, because I don't think that's
Mhm.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of our assignments after our last cohort meeting is to
Mm,
pay attention to our own lives when we're moving into either our
mm,
stress
okay.
or growth number.
Mhm.
And for me, I was wondering, just some insight from you, like it's hard for me to know, like, am I in my stress number or my security growth number, or am I just pulling from what I've learned when I've been there previously? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like
Say that again in a different
so
way.
like so I'm a 4. So when I go to 1 in growth, like I can, pull, like I kind of get my energy there. I can
Mm,
be more
mm,
organized, and things like that. And so I think when I've on the high side of 1, when I've on the low side of 1, I'm perfectionistic. I'm a little bit, controlling, kind of the lower side of 1.
mm, mm, mm.
So when I guess my question is, when I've been there previously, like in severe stress, like it's more obvious. But in
Sure,
just
that
like
makes sense.
everyday life,
Mm,
am I actually going to those numbers, or am I just pulling things I've learned from being in those spaces previously? Does that make sense? Like,
mm.
That's
I
good.
think I almost see those as the same thing.
okay,
Mm.
Like, quote, going to those numbers to sort of use it, like, kind of doing the same thing that you've done in the past. Is that kind of, I almost see
I
those.
think
I
so.
think
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I see those as the same thing.
Okay.
Mm.
I don't
Okay.
think it's like if you're utilizing behaviors from that number, you are kind of quote going to that number.
Right, because we don't ever actually change our number. We're just
Mhm.
always kind of
Yeah, it's just sort of
moving.
using some
Okay.
of those things
Mhm.
and moving that direction to kind of release stress or whatever, or to or flailing. And yeah, like an example, I think a good example of that, the stress piece again, is a 1 going to the 4, actually, in this sort of
Okay.
in this quote stress place. Like, 1's defense mechanism is about controlling themselves, right? I need to control my emotions and keep a tight handle on it and keep a thumb on my desires and my emotions, and like, I don't want to be out of control. I need to control myself. But then life gets really big and the emotions get so big that they can no longer control themselves, and then they just like shoot to the depths of despair, like a 4. Like, in this, like, it's like, I don't know how to handle these emotions because I've
Right.
never let them in like this, and so
Mhm.
I wallow and I become kind of a martyr. The ones do that, but it's like,
Mhm.
I think that's another great example of, like, it's because I'm not good at feeling emotions because I never let myself. And so now that it's happening, it's chaotic and I don't know what to do. But I mean, it's a release valve though, because there are all these emotions that they're trying to control the whole time, and they're going to come out eventually. Like, we're not as smart as
Mhm.
we think we
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
with emotions.
All right. So,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry,
No,
baby.
go ahead.
So, speaking of not being as smart as we think we are, okay, let me call myself out on this. So, as an 8, 1, I wanted no wing. I wanted no belief that there was a wing because I thought before going to the cohort, being 8 was the greatest thing ever. I know you have a twin brother who's
Mm.
an 8, and you
Yes,
probably
yeah.
have dealt with people, me your whole life. So, God bless you. And
I think it's
poor thing.
awesome. I think it's
Yeah.
a lot of fun. I feel
So,
safe in
yeah.
that energy
Right.
because
Good
of
deal.
like,
Yeah, so I never wanted a wing, and then to hear that I would go to 2, on the resistance I felt that I would go to 2, like in growth, felt like a slap in
mm,
the face because I just want to be an 8. Now, granted, I understand my autonomic nervous system for survival teaches me least resistance, don't go anywhere, like just want to be here. So I understand that neuroscience wise, but I'll tell you what's happened is
mm.
me understanding replacing the word feelings, because I repressed my feelings, with awareness, which came from Suzanne Stabille's daughter, Joey, taught me that. My awareness, then all of a sudden realizing that when I am really feeling connected to me, it's when I'm in two space.
Mm.
And
Really?
yeah,
Mm,
when I'm
okay.
as a therapist, 9 hours a day, 10 hours a day, I couldn't feel more connected to myself, God, and other people. Like, it's such a
Mm.
beautiful place to be. But me being aware of that and saying that, like, it took something to get there because to me, it meant that I wasn't being authentic.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So you weren't being, so to be a 2 in that way felt like you were being inauthentic? Is that what you're saying?
Mhm. Mhm.
To be labeled
Interesting.
To
that
be
way.
labeled as a 2, to be like, that means I'm leaving self, opposed to now seeing the balance, the homeostasis, like me
Oh,
seeing
like
it
that still
differently.
is I'm not leaving myself, I'm just sort
Right.
of coming back to different parts of myself that
Right.
I have previously had a hard time accessing.
That I'm actually compassionate, where I'm comfortable just
Yeah.
being angry, right? And actually being
Sure,
compassionate.
sure.
Right. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes.
It's really changed. It's changed my
Yeah.
understanding of self.
Wow. Good.
Because
'Cause
the
that's yeah.
8 defense mechanism is to armor up and get stronger and get like tougher. And so to go to that 2 space takes a lot of letting your own guard down and sort of
Yes.
being warm and almost opening yourself up to be hurt.
Ugh.
Person.
Ugh.
Yep.
You just,
Yes.
yes.
And I think that exact reason right there is why I think to sort of teach people that you need to just sort of like try to practice the behaviors of your growth number directly. Like, I don't like that because it puts you in a very vulnerable space. It's putting you in
Yes.
this place that was wounded as a very small child.
You
And
got
so
it.
to put yourself there opens yourself up to a lot of risk and vulnerability. And so that's why when people like romanticize, you just need to be your growth number, like careful, like it's not bad, but just to be aware that it's a very vulnerable, easily wounded spot because you've really opened yourself up in a way that you normally don't.
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah, that's good. So we don't have time to probably go into each number really like on a deep level,
Mhm.
but would it make sense to kind of just go through and hit some high points and low points?
It's a great idea, honey.
Thank you.
That's a you guys are still in love. That's great.
Yes.
Um,
Start with a 4 and just kind of like an understanding of a 4 going to a 2, a 4 going to a 1.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Maybe a little bit descriptive about that for people.
yeah, kind of what that can look like, maybe.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So 4 going to, it's interesting. People talk about the 4 going to the 1 with like criticism and perfectionism, but 4s are very perfectionistic already and can be very self-critical. They're not self-critical about their own morals in a way that 1s are, but they're very self-critical about their own identity and who they are and their own authenticity.
So that's so good because okay, I want to hear more.
Yeah, that's so
Okay,
good.
okay,
That's very
okay,
helpful.
okay.
You just helped our
Yeah.
marriage. Thank you. I'm gonna send you
cool.
a check.
Hey, I will send you the invoice.
Yeah.
All in a day's work. So 4s, their defense mechanism is so going internal. They're very self-focused. And whenever I say that, I don't mean that in like a morally judgmental way. Some people are other focused and some people are self-focused, and they both have their own problems. It's not better, quote, better to be other focused. It can just be just as damaging to yourself and others as being self-focused. So 4s are very internally focused and self-referencing in their own way. And so when they do that, they can alienate people when they do that for too long. People can be sort of pushed away from them. And then, but 4s are in that heart triad and really want relationship and connection. And so they can get to this point, I think, when they sort of are so internalized, they realize they've pushed people away. And they can get kind of panicky and they turn into this 2 space of, I need to bring people close and I need to overdo for you. And I need to like drop and like fix you and do these things for you so that you can stay close to me in a very like lower side of 2 manipulative kind of way. You're smiling uncomfortably.
You said manipulative.
You
said manipulative. I heard that.
What?
Okay.
Is this going to turn into a counseling session?
Yes, it is.
All right. And how do you feel about that?
I feel seen right now.
I don't think I'm manipulative.
No, not at all. But just in the
I think we can all be manipulative truly in our own way. Well, we are all doing things to take care of ourselves and protect ourselves. I don't morally judge that. We just do it in different ways because we're trying to survive. I don't think it's a bad thing. Yeah. But in this context, when I say manipulative, meaning like almost relationally, and they do it kind of clunkily, like they can grasp really tightly to people and like clingy to people in this way. That can happen when a 4, but I think the 4 also hates being there because 4s want to be very independent and sort of self-sufficient and can be kind of elitist about other people. So like to simultaneously want to be close and keep people close can be just very, I think, jarring to the sense of self of a 4.
Yeah, it's kind of like that push-pull that comes in a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. I think that push-pull is a lot of that kind of that 2 to 4 back and forth. Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then when a 4 goes to 1, when a 4 is able to, because the 4 pattern of just sort of overanalyzing the emotions and staying in the grief and staying in the difficult things and kind of fueling the fires of their own emotions so much so like to be authentic and real, but they're actually very not in the present because they're sort of ruminating on things and ramping up emotions and they don't really go anywhere with that. But when they're at their best, kind of moving to that 1 space, they're able to kind of move forward out of it in a way that, so they can do what a 1 overdoes, but they can do it well. That makes it like I can sort of, they can do it. They can move out of the emotions instead of getting stuck in it. Like 1s are great at like, don't worry about the emotion. Let's move forward. Too much. Right. But when you're 4 going to that best side of 1, you're like a 1+, like you have the best of your 4, but you also can move through things in a way that you get stuck in as a 4. You have that ability to kind of move forward and see other things as important that aren't just your emotions. but sort of more practical things and doing things as also important, not just the authenticity of expressing your emotions, no matter how it lands. Does that make sense? Kind
That
of.
makes perfect sense. Yeah. And I can see that. I'm like picturing moments in my life where I can see that. Now,
Okay.
just a question. How do I know if I'm just like in high 4 or like pulling from 1?
That's a really good question.
Really good question.
I think how I would want to answer initially is like I don't know if that matters.
Okay.
I don't know how you take that, but it's like sometimes I think if that happens, people can get in this very like equation oriented, like, well, how do I know when I'm this and this and what is this happening? It's like, is it helping you?
Right.
Are you feeling better? Are you more grounded? Are you more present?
Mm-hmm.
But I think, but maybe if I were to have to answer that question, how do I know if it's like, I mean, I think again, these might be the same thing, but I think that the goal not necessarily being wanting to be my growth number all the time, but the goal being how can I be as present as possible?
Yeah.
I think with presence and with being in the moment and not being in our ego patterns and structures, we naturally start to move toward that growth number. It's like it's what happens automatically when we're at our best self.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think part of my reaction. Yeah, go ahead. Good.
Yeah, can I ask you what feels important to you about knowing whether it's the high side of 4 or going to 1? Like, yeah.
I think it's just because of our assignment from the cohort of like
Okay,
trying to know, like we're supposed to have a journal and to kind of keep track of not necessarily if we're the high side or low side of our stress or growth number, but just that we're kind of moving to that number, and I'm trying to distinguish that. And so that was just, I think I've just been asking
just trying to
myself that
figure it out.
question.
Kind of trying to map it out kind of just for your own sense of knowing yourself or awareness. Yeah, I almost see those as the same thing. I think like being the best part of yourself as a 4 will look very 1-ish.
Okay.
Like if you look at the descriptions of what it can look like. I mean, I have some issue with the descriptions of like levels of health, because that again can be so culturally based and can look very different with like I've heard like Jessica Dixon is a lady in the Enneagram community she's a Black woman, and she talks a lot about how like a lot of Black women mistype because stereotypically they look more angry. Or people assume that they're going to be more angry, and so they see more anger, and so like these levels of health maybe it's it's an interesting topic when we come to sort of this, like, where do we get ideas of what health is for each number? And so that's, for me, it's my question for clients is always more like, is this working for you?
Yeah.
Do you feel present? Are you grounded? Are you with yourself? Are you happy with, are you on good terms with yourself? Versus like, where do you land on the scale kind of thing?
Yeah. And I think that's probably even like going back a little bit, my reaction to of joking about feeling seen is because Larissa's so healthy, has done so much work, that if I hear any self-criticism about her artwork or anything, I think I get thrown off for a second. And it helps to hear that part of the 4 experience.
Oh,
right?
Okay. Like, here's what's going on internally for her right now.
Yeah, because
it's a way
I get
for you to know her.
I get baffled because she's so centered. And I'm like, what's happening right now? And I don't always know how to show up. And I think that is what felt so seen, and so like another piece of an expansion for me.
Okay. That makes sense. And I think, because I think maybe because I am so like internally focused, I'm not always like verbalizing all the
sure
feelings I'm having up in all the waves. And so I think when I do, and if I'm in that kind of self-critical or questioning or self-doubting space, especially with art or work, usually it's work related, I think. And I do voice that, it can probably seem like it's coming out of nowhere.
Yeah. And again, it's permission to be human, it's permission to take up space, but it just helps the way Michael said it, in the sense of, for you or anybody, in the sense of how I see somebody as my perception, and also having to go past that we all struggle. And the Enneagram allows space for that without judgment.
Yeah, I think at its best, it absolutely does that. It develops compassion and understanding for yourself at its best, versus this sort of like self-critical, like criticism of, I'm not doing good enough, I'm not healthy enough, I should be more like this number, but I'm not. I'm more in my stress number. Like, that's usually, those patterns are coming from your own number anyways. Like it's just more of the same thing. Just trying to use the Enneagram as the next tool to do the same shit you've always done.
Yeah. Such a good point. It's such a good point. Yeah. Is there anything else about 4s, or do you want to, any other questions you have about 4s?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think that was really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
good.
Suzanne Stabile says 4s are the most complicated number
Complex.
because of y'all's understanding of your emotional template, right?
Mm.
In that so many
Complicated for themselves or for other people, like seeming. What
Like
did she say about that?
complex,
for
maybe.
yourself in the sense of because there's meta emotions. They have feelings about their feelings,
Mm.
right?
I think
And
everybody
that
does. Do you not think everybody does? Or maybe not to the extent or something?
I don't think all of us have awareness, and I think that the complexity of a
Okay.
4 is that they have this heightened, beautiful awareness, and they're around people like
Yeah,
me who are
because of
like,
their own
yeah,
sort of central self-focus, they spend so much time thinking about their emotions and pondering about themselves and journaling and all that stuff. So they usually fours who come to therapy come with way more like self-awareness than most people do at the beginning.
that's right.
But I think that can get fours stuck because they can make them kind of fours. I think at their worst can get very like elitist.
Mm.
And it's like, I'm more self-aware and so I don't need therapy, or you can't help me with any of this anyways. And I'm so aware of myself, but usually there are parts of them that they're blind to, just like there are parts of everybody that they're blind to too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that sort of can sort of keep force trapped in a way, thinking that they kind of
Yeah.
have all the self-awareness and they're good now
Yeah.
at their worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of blindness, like us 8s are so blind.
Mm,
We have no idea how we move against people, how we hurt people, how it
mm,
lands differently.
I
It's
yes.
just amazing. I'm learning more and more about like I feel like I should write this a gigantic amends letter and send it to every person that's been in my life somehow. Right? I'm like,
I
oh, I
I
had no
think
idea.
yeah, I think the gap between how an 8 perceives themselves and how other people perceive 8s, I think is the biggest on all the numbers.
Yeah.
Meaning like how any number perceives himself versus how other people perceive them. I think it's the
Mhm.
biggest gap with the 8s. Because
Yes.
8s, I hear a lot of like almost like this sort of 8s aren't gonna like this, almost this sort of victim mentality. Like nobody
Mhm.
gets that I'm not angry. Why does everybody think I'm angry? Nobody understands me.
Mhm.
Which I'm
True.
not to like make fun of or whatever. I think that fits with what you're saying. Like 8s
Mhm.
truly a lot of times don't know how they're coming across. Like I've
Yes.
had clients before. I'm like, hey, are you aware that how you're reacting and talking feels intimidating to me? And
Mhm.
I'll make sure I let them know, like, that doesn't mean you need to stop or it's your problem or anything. I'm just saying, like, it feels intimidating, and my guess is that other people feel that around you, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah,
Just kind of
absolutely.
point that out because this guy had this client who's an 8, and he was um talking to me, and I was doing my therapist thing of like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense, kind of right, like affirming. And then he said, I'm gonna stop you right there. Every time you say that makes sense, you don't have to say that. I know it makes sense. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it if
Yeah.
I didn't know it made sense. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. And so what first came out of my mouth naturally was, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And I was like, oh
Yeah.
God, sorry. Like it's just so natural. That's just how I talk. But it's just very direct and like, and
Yeah.
I don't really perceive that as mean. I perceive it as, I think maybe because I grew up with my brothers an 8 and I can really
Mhm.
respect and appreciate that kind of directness. But
Mhm.
um yeah, 8s. You want me to talk about the lines for the 8s? Are you interested in
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it'd be
Uh
great.
yeah, so 8s and stress line, I like to call it they hibernate. So like hibernate. Like when so 8s are
Huh.
just going, spinning 100 plates, always moving, and then eventually it gets to a point where it's just too much, and they
Mhm.
kind of collapse and just shrink inward, pull
Mm.
away from everything, and just kind of recharge, and they kind of hibernate, like they're hibernating in that 5. They can really disappear and really go up into their head. I had a client who physical labor as his job, and then he hurt his arm really badly, couldn't work anymore.
Mm.
And like it went up his back and everything, and he couldn't even do anything around the house. And he went to a bad place,
Mm.
depressed wise, very in
Mm.
his head. He got like picked up some video game and played it for like hundreds of hours and just like
Mm.
zeroed in on that. Cause it's like, it was this like, I've always found my sense of identity by doing and being strong and pushing forward. And now I literally can't anymore. And so in comes the stress the stress line to cope. Sort
Yeah.
of, I want to do something that makes me feel competent. I want to shrink into this headspace
Mm.
and at least think I can do something and be competent at something and kind of hide away from everybody in my own intensity because that's kind of what happened. I think that's an extreme. That's what happens with that stress. Does that
Yeah.
resonate at all for
Oh,
you?
absolutely. Very much. Very much.
Okay.
And yeah, and how Suzanne Stabile put it, which really helped me, was that, and I had to think about it for a second, is that we take our marbles and go home.
Okay.
And so now our keyword is marbles. If I need to walk
Really? Came
away,
rows ago,
yeah,
just gone. Yeah, my brother,
yeah,
I can't even get a hold of him when he's in like a really stressed out spot. I
yeah.
can't even get a hold of him, and he could just care less to respond until he wants to.
Right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think her explaining like how
8s.
8s will take their marbles, like
Mm-hmm.
how their exit. Are
Mm-hmm.
they, roughly grabbing their marbles and
Uh-huh.
storming out, or do
Yeah.
they like place them and quietly leave.
Right.
Mm,
But then also the reentry and
Yeah.
how they come back and what
Yeah.
the
And-
importance of that.
Right. And that's the work of coming from a place of health, of knowing, that there can be a reentry that is repair.
Mm.
Right.
mm,
But that takes work. And again, awareness, and we
Sure.
don't know we're moving against people. And she has watched me go toe to toe with other eights, particularly in the foster care class that we finished recently. And then after we go head to head with each other, which of course I won the fight, but that doesn't matter. But in
Obviously.
the hallway, we're hugging, talking about our cars and doing whatever. We don't care.
Mm,
Right.
Right.
And all
Yeah.
of us were like, oh, y'all are friends now.
Baffles everybody else. Like,
Yeah,
I thought they
everybody
hated
else
each
is
other.
rocking back and forth and doing bilateral
self-soothing in the
stimulation.
corner. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. They're stimming. All these things are happening. We're fine.
Yeah.
Right. And it's
Yeah.
just needing to know that we are affecting other people in the room. And I don't think about that. I just don't. And I want to think about it more.
Either I think some eights, either they don't think about it or they just think about it and don't care. They just expect somebody like, you should be strong and be able to handle it. Not my problem if you can't.
That's right.
Kind
if
of thing.
If you're weak, then go be weak in the corner.
Yeah, then that's not a me problem. Go weak out. Be weak elsewhere.
That's right. That's right.
The amount of times I've
anymore.
said, sure. The amount of times my brother has said something to me about how he yelled at some, the amount of times that these words have come out of my mouth to my brother, like, wait, you said that to them? In person, you actually said that? Is baffling. The amount of times that I've said that to him, it just shocks me. But I think with that, I think earlier, I want to go back to that stress line of the 5, and a piece that I didn't mention earlier. A lot of times I coach the therapists on my course and my clients to do is to practice your stress space intentionally. So for a 5, to intentionally rest, to intentionally be still and not move forward. Because what that does is it gets you better at that space. So when you do shoot to that space, it's not like you can't swim and you're flailing. Like I said earlier, you have some practice. You kind of know how to handle the space.
Yeah,
so you're
good.
more well-rounded of a person, and you're not going to reactively go there as much right, like that psychological release valve, there is a need in your stress line that your body is sort of forcing you to get. And so the more you can intentionally get that need on your own without your system forcing you that direction, the less you'll even need to move off into that 5 or dating space.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, it's really helpful.
And then do we talk
and same
about...
with
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
With the 4s, the more they practice being self-focused and kind of being other focused, right? Their relationships stay closer to them, and so they don't have those panics of oh my God, I'm going to be abandoned and rejected, just like always, and so it's so practicing that stress space intentionally really, I think, keeps us from going to the stress space in such a damaging way.
That's good.
That's really good.
Which is just such a beautiful use of the Enneagram. Practice some of these things that usually people in your stress number are good at. Practice those, because you need to get better at those.
Yeah, I do think it's all about practice. It's all about the disconfirming experience. And again,
cool. I like that phrase.
Yeah, it's this level of expertise that you're bringing to the table, and that you're bringing Larissa to the table as a 4 and understanding the Enneagram that helps us. This is how you bring in the disconfirming experience. This is how you are able to reconstruct the meaning of things.
Yeah, you do the thing, and then you're like, wait, I'm okay.
I'm okay.
I'm not dying.
That's right.
Whoa, maybe I can do this more. And then your nervous system feels a little bit more safety every time you do that.
Every time.
Yeah. So for the 8, for the 2, the growth, we talked about that a little bit earlier, this sort of, because eights are what's part of this, what's called the rejection triad. I don't know if you heard that before. The dominant affect triads. 2s, 5s, and 8s come from this sort of, so the dominant affect triads, or we can even do a whole podcast about this if you want to. I love this stuff. I teach it at my course. It's sort of this the emotional backdrop that we bring to all of our relationships. So 2s, 5s, and 8s bring an expectation of wounding. So for 2s, 5s, and 8s, they have this early childhood experience of this safety and comfort and warmth that I so needed also hurt me. And so I don't trust it. 2s will try to protect from rejection by going all in and losing themselves to just fully attached to other people. 5s avoid rejection, the pain of rejection, by pretending they don't need it. Like I'm going to cut off from my emotions and human contact, and I don't need it anyways. Whereas 8s, they project from rejection by being very strong. The more armor I put on, the more I'm assuming you're going to hurt me, and I'm ready to fight, and I need to get stronger to protect myself when that happens. And so there's an expectation of rejection. So when an 8 does a lot of their own work and is able to be grounded and kind of out of their own ego patterns and fears, they naturally move more toward this 2 place of giving, which is a vulnerable place for an 8, of to be warm and to be kind and to sort of let this. I heard this idea that I love this idea that eights are actually just like a cactus shell with a mushy marshmallow inside. And so like when eights go to 2, they let out that vulnerability, which can feel really icky. But they can let that out and be in relationship and give to others without fear or if not without fear, it's if this person hurts me, I can be okay. Versus like there's such a fear of betrayal and a worry and almost an expectation of betrayal that eights can feel. And so when you're able to sort of calm that and know that you can be okay, you more naturally are going to be more giving and warm and sort of other focused as like a 2.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's interesting how long it's taken me to absorb what you just said. You know, because it comes across of the safety in the anger for social justice versus the moments of warmth of someone seeing my emotions or seeing an action that is emotionally filled and someone making a comment on that. There's an instant, I'm not safe.
Wow, really? If someone like
Absolutely.
sees your emotions,
Oh,
it feels like you're not safe?
Oh, I will punch you in the throat.
Wow.
You know?
Wow. Wow.
Like, it's that reaction,
Sure,
like,
I
I'm
believe
just not
that.
safe, and I've had to, like, slow it down and really, like, be able to receive because
Yeah.
it's just it's the core of shame and trauma, which I know may look different within numbers, but there's a
Sure.
similarity across the board with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an idea, there's something called the essential quality for each number is something I'm doing a lot of looking into. And actually, let me use this opportunity real quick if that's okay I developed a mini course that has 9 meditations and teachings for the essential quality of each number. It's a way to sort of embody, like in an embodied way, get into the spirit of each number and kind of understand where they're coming from. So there's something called the essential quality. It's something that each number is born with and connected to, but then we start losing out on it as wounds happen and separations happen and life happens. And so a lot of our own personality patterns are an attempt to get back to that. And so this will make sense why I'm explaining this in a second. So the 8, the essential quality is aliveness. It's this feeling alive. It's feeling powerful and energetic. And like anybody might feel this, not just 8s, right? When you're on a good day and you're outside, maybe hanging out with friends and it's perfect weather and you're feeling really good. It's like there's an aliveness, a big deep breath, an energy that 8s have. But with that energy, with the more alive you get, the more vulnerable you are. Wow. Because to be alive and means you're affected by life and you're letting yourself be affected. And so what 8s do is there's this, oh no, like I want this aliveness, but it comes with vulnerability and that's scary. And so instead of aliveness, they develop the passion of lust. I'm going to push against life and be intense and make things intense because that feels like this, I'm getting back to my essential quality of aliveness, but I get to do that without the vulnerability that comes from that and the sensitivity that comes from that. Like the more alive you are, the more sensitive you are. And so 8s try to reject the sensitivity and keep aliveness by pushing against life and being intense, and that lust and that intensity comes out. Wow. Does that make sense? And so I think there's a lot of that fear of like, the more alive I am, the more sensitive I am to being hurt and to being wounded. And it doesn't feel like I can handle that. Yeah. So maybe when people are like seeing these emotional things and you're like, oh no, like I'm being seen, the sensitivity in me is being seen. And I've tried so long consciously and or unconsciously to deny that.
Yeah, that's so good. All right, now I have to hear about 4s, and we're not trying to like dominate this, but
the essential quality
of a 4. I really need to know this.
Yes, this is gonna make so much sense. The essential quality of the 4 is mystery or depth. And so what that means is 4s early on in life, right? There's this connection to something that feels more real than our own kind of ego patterns. So 4s sort of at a personality level are always wanting things that are very deep and in depth and mysterious and kind of moving in that way. And that's because they're trying to get back to this essential quality of mystery or depth. And what that is at its best is, you ever had a moment of pure intimacy with someone where your intimacy meaning I am now seeing past my own representations of you, who I always thought you were. I'm seeing you as you are now. Yeah. That is depth. And that is this thing that 4s are almost seeing that's everywhere, but I'm missing it because I'm blind to it, but it's somewhere. And so 4s try to almost artificially create that depth through intensity of emotions and feeling strong things and going in things really in depth. But does that make sense? So it's this quality of, how do I put it? Of seeing something as it is outside of my expectations and seeing the beauty in that. Yeah. And when we can sort of sit there, and the meditation that I do in this series that I'm going to be selling soon, sort of guiding you through this openness as things are, kind of guiding you through opening your eyes and trying to see things without a filter as they are. And the more you can do that, the more you get close to that depth. And that's where a
Mhm.
fours like had that access early in life, but feel like they're missing it. And so there's all this trying to force it
Yeah.
back and see things that are missing and see things that aren't there and find the beauty in things that nobody else sees. That's a very important thing and it's a beautiful thing. We can all benefit from that.
Yeah.
But
You
that's the essential quality of the
with
four.
the essential quality in the 8, her passion came in less. Does that come into play for the 4?
Yes. So the passion is the sort of fake, our attempt to get back our essential quality. It's sort
Okay.
of a forced fake version of our essential quality. So
Okay.
lust is same for aliveness for 8. For 4s, it's envy
Yeah.
is the passion of the 4. It's something's missing from me.
Right.
There's something that I'm seeing that other people have that I don't have, and I'm missing out on it. Is where that kind of starts skewing. And it's interesting. 4s aren't really envious about people who are really successful in these big ways like 3s. 4s are almost envious of people whose lives appear to just be normal. Because like 4s, it's my life is so abnormal and so different, and I maybe didn't belong in my family, and I wish I had all this stuff, but I'm sort of broken. And so there's almost this desire, like, I wish I could just be like a normal everyday soccer mom taking their kids to soccer. But then there's this grossness with it. Like, but I don't want to be that.
Right.
I don't want to be normal like that. So there's this back and forth that happens with the 4, this sort of internal push and pull when it comes to that envy. But does that make sense how the envy connects to the depth?
Yeah.
So the depth is
That's really
there's
good.
something there that I'm not seeing. And then the envy is like, where is it? There's something that I'm missing. It's sort of the skewed version of it. It's not this letting go, knowing that it's already there. I'm just not seeing it. It's this, I have to make it happen and force it. It's sort of this, it's a trying to force our essential quality back is what creates the passion.
That's good.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
I would love to send you guys these meditations. I've recorded all of them. I haven't sold them yet. I'm interested if I could like send them to you. If you guys, because each one's about 10 to 15 minutes, about a 7-minute meditation. And then that same amount of time teaching about the essential quality. 9 different videos.
That would be
I love
amazing.
that.
At all?
Yeah. She'll tell you, be able to speak about the creativity and the depth of it. I'll be able to criticize you if it's weak or not. How about that?
Please.
Can we do that? Yeah,
Please.
I'm so excited.
I think I'm grounded enough to handle that.
Yes, you are.
I truly think it's the thing that I have created as a teacher, Enneagram person, my favorite thing I've ever created, period.
Really? I'm excited to hear that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Anything about 6s that you want to, whether it's line or the quality essential, like whatever it is?
Yeah, just sort of the growth and stress line maybe, and then maybe people can get the idea of it more there. So the 6, actually, I'll speak to the essential quality of the 6 really quick to like line this all up. Essential quality of 6 is inner guidance. So it's this sort of, it's not necessarily knowing what to do. It's knowing that I will know what to do when the time comes. It's, I have this inner guidance, this inner GPS that I can trust that I'll be capable and competent when something comes up, I can take care of it. And so when the 6s lose that, right, they lose the inner guidance, that turns into the quintessential 6 struggle for certainty and surety and support. I need you to support me. I need you to do this for me because I don't know how. It feels like, Russ Hudson says, it feels like for a 6 that they're flying down the highway with their eyes closed, just waiting for an accident to happen because I don't know how to do this. And then, so the loss of inner guidance creates what called angst. He calls it angst for the 6 as the passion of, like, I know I'm supposed to make these decisions in life and I'm called upon to do this as an adult, but I have no idea what I'm doing. And so there's this anger and a frustration that kind of combine to create this angst of, I don't know what I'm doing. And that's why 6s can be so, I need to grasp to an ideology or a person or a belief system because I don't have that guidance and I don't know where it is anymore. And so I don't know how to do this. And so when the 6, what'd you say?
They don't have trust.
Yep. They don't have trust in themselves. Yep. They don't trust that they have a sense of inner guidance. But the coolest part is they do. And it's there. You just have to learn, practice being present to find it because it's not anywhere else except in presence. But for the 6, when the 6 is stressed, right, and not feeling this inner guidance, what they do is they try to project an image like a 3. They go to that stress of a 3. If I can present as competent and I know what I'm doing, then maybe other people will think I'm okay. And maybe I can trust myself if other people think I'm okay. It's this sort of very image crafting 3 to act competent, to seem competent, to feel competent, because I normally don't. I don't have any inner guidance, so I have to pretend or make other people think I do. But when a 6 is able to access that inner guidance and be at their best self and know, I can take care of what needs to be taken care of, and I can trust myself, and I'm part of this bigger fabric that connects everything. I'm not alone. They're able to be go to the 9 space, right? Like I'm able to chill out. I'm able to relax. I don't have to stop thinking about everything that go wrong because I trust myself to handle it when it comes. so I don't have to think the what ifs, because that's the point of the what ifs, to
Mhm.
prepare for what's happening when it comes, because I don't trust that I can. And so they look very 9 and relaxed and easygoing when they're able to kind of step into their own strength and own inner guidance again.
Yeah, that's good.
That's amazing.
That's really, really
Enneagram's
good.
so cool.
Yeah.
So cool. I love
Yeah.
it. It makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? I know we got to wrap this up in a second. Anything else about sixes that you wanna add?
Nothing I can think of. Not with
Yeah.
no, that's my favorite part about sixes lately. Is just about that whole inner guidance and belief sixes believing that they really don't have it. It's this idea that like all I am is my body, my mind, and my emotions. I'm not anything more than that. And so I'm just kind of alone in my weak little blip of human consciousness, versus this healthy place of a six is I am actually part of everything. And
Yeah.
everything is connected in this sort of fabric of the universe. And so I have that strength, this idea that my very being is essence itself.
Mhm.
I am more than just my personality, is what gives the sixes strength to kind of
Mhm.
push through things that they normally feel incompetent or incapable
Yeah.
of.
It just sounds like such a great description of just embodiment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around
When
them.
everybody, the more embodied any of us get, the more connected we are to our own essential
Yeah.
quality and our best selves. And the
So
more we
good.
will go to our growth number automatically.
So good. Anything you want to say?
No, this has been really, really insightful.
Really
Awesome.
good. So I know people can't see us, whatever, but this book you're all for. I'm assuming this is Russo and Hudson, the personality types. And we'll put this in the show notes.
That's a good
We
one.
also want to make sure we put in there that you are teaching classes. I assume they're not just for therapists. It's anybody who has got curiosity.
That my main thing I teach is for therapists, and I just recently did the live, and I only do that once a year. But I'm working on recording an evergreen version of that for therapists who want to take in their own time. But what I'm also doing for everybody is this meditation piece. You'll get like a link somehow to sign in. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but have access to these 9 videos, and it's sort of working you through how to meditate, how to be present, and while doing that, it sort of gets you in the head, heart, and the body of each number, and kind of understanding what that's like, and understanding what sort of makes them tick at a more embodied, not just sort of head understanding way. And I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm excited too. Thank you for being part of this.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, this is not our last time. You're going to be a repeat offender again.
I would love to.
Such a troublemaker.
I'd be proud of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for this. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for being part of Flip Your Lid audience. And everybody, check out Michael Shahan on Instagram. Follow him and tap into all the things he's providing at such a low cost to the Enneagram community. And so, Michael, as always, so good to see you.
Thank you.
So we don't know exactly what y'all heard here today. I do know you heard something that helped you reconnect to who you really are. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Flip Your Lid with Kim Honeycutt. Please subscribe, rate, and share. You can find Kim on Facebook or Instagram at KBHoneycutt. To get an autographed copy of Kim's book, visit butyourmotherlovesyou.com. Remember, no matter what, treat yourself well today.